You will learn how to construct the scatter diagram. And we will use an example called the GPA versus ACT. The director of the admissions of the small college select 120 students at random, form the new freshman class in the study to determine the relationship between the student's GPA at the end of the freshman year and the ACT test score. So in this practice, you are required to draw a scatter diagram to reflect the relationship between GPA and ACT. In order to work on this problem, you need to download the Excel file from D2L. The name is Lab2 Excel file. So after you download this file, you will find 3 spreadsheets in this Excel file. So you need to click the second tab called Example 2 GPA ACT. So after you click this tab, you will see 2 column data. The first column is ACT score, and the second column is GPA. So how can you construct the scatter diagram reflect the relationship between these 2 variables? First, you need to click the Data tab. So after you clicked it, and you will find at the end there is one icon called the Data Analysis. So we've used it before. And now you click it again. So after you clicked it, so in previous video we used a histogram, but in this one we use regression. So after you choose a regression, the background should change to blue. And now you can click OK. So after you click the OK, you need to choose where you can see this regression windows. So the first area we call input area, and the second area is called output area. And in previous video, we know that the input is just let the computer know where is your original data. And the output is telling computer where do you want to place your result and what kind of result do you want. So now let's first finish the first area, the input, telling the computer where's your data. So now we have 2 range. One is Y range, another is X range. So in Math 260, you know Y is dependent variable and X is independent variable. So in this practice, we don't require you to distinguish which is X and which is Y. So you can choose either ACT score as your X or GPA as your X. So first, let's finish Y range. Let's say we use GPA variable as your Y. So what you need to do is first, click this small icon. So after you clicked it, you can choose the data. So after you choose the data, you click this small icon again. So now you can choose your X range. So it is the first column from A1 to A121. So instead of choosing it in another option for you to choose the data is directly type the sales name. So it will be A1 to A121. So we don't directly choose the data because it's another way to choose the data. And then you will find both first column, so you will find both Y range and the X range include the first row of the data, which is a label for each columns. So now you need to check labels, make sure when you work on your homework, you check the labels if you choose the first row of the labels. So after you choose this, now we finish the input area. Now we can move to output area. I prefer to place the output to a new worksheet, and you can name it. So I name the new output sheet as Dr. John Rack, and you can use your name to name the new worksheet. Since in this practice we want to figure out the relationship between ACT score and the GPA score, it's better for you to add one thing in your output, which is called a line fitted plot. So you can check this one. So after you check the line fitted plot, so you finish everything, you just click OK. So after you click OK, you will find in your work file, there is one more spreadsheet added called Dr. John Rack. So this page is what I created just now to place the result. So on this spreadsheet, you will find a graph called ACT line fitted plot. So you can enlarge it. So those blue dots is our observation. So they are the scatters. And besides this blue dot, you can also see a red dot. So what are they? So you can see the index here is a predicted GPA. So if you still remember when we choose the output option, we choose line fitted plot. So they try to use dot to tell us the line fitted plot. So that is not what we want. So how can you correct it? The way you correct it is first choose one of the red dots. So after you choose it, right click your mouse. So after you right click your mouse, you can see those options. And you choose delete series. So now you cannot see the red dot, but we still cannot find our trend line. So what can you do is choose one of the blue dots. So after you choose the blue dot, right click your mouse again. And now you can see this option again. So you move down and choose add a trend line. So after you clicked it, you can see this window we have format trend line. So the default setting of Excel is a linear. So in this practice, you don't need to change anything, just close this window. So now you can see there is a dark line go through these scatters. So this is line fitted plot. So in the class we mentioned, we have different scenario for the line fitted plot for this trend line. For one scenario, this line can go downward. So if the line go downward, and we say this is inverse relationship. So which means if the line is go downward, which means as ACT score increase, the GPA will decrease. So another scenario is if the trend line is a horizontal line. If this happens, we can see that if ACT score increase, the GPA will never change. So in that scenario, we say these two variable has no relationship. So the third scenario is what we see in here. If this line is go upward, and we say GPA and these two variables has direct relationship, which means as ACT score increase, the GPA is also increase. So we see this kind of relationship is direct relationship. So it will be a upward line. So in economy, we can see the supply curve is moved upward, it's direct relationship, and the demand curve is go downward, it's inverse relationship. So you can use this video to help you to work on the homework.